So now this is your girl's recording. Let's go ahead and let's jump into this next damn reaction, shall we? Now, Patrick CC, shout outs to you. This interesting video of the beef between Charlie and Sneako. And we've seen this from the beginning. I reacted to this on my main channel before. That did a really good number. So we're gonna go ahead, jump right into this. So let's get this long video out of the way. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, y'all, let's get into this next video, y'all. Let's do it.
The back and forth between PENGUINZ0 and Sneako will go down as one of the most controversial and intense.
Just based off of how he's holding the gun already, it's just I want to go ahead and spam the fart. The fart sounds so bad.
Beefs in internet
said
history.
like, oh,
On one side, we have Moist Critical, aka Charlie, who is widely loved and respected on YouTube for having reasonable opinions on a variety of different subjects, from pop culture to video games to menial drama to serious social issues. On the other side, we have Sneako, who is often mocked and despised on YouTube for his extreme and controversial opinions on most of these same topics, but he is more so focused on social issues, religion, and politics. And over the years, whenever they have decided to come together and hash out their differences, an absolute firestorm of chaos would ensue on every social media platform afterwards. Today we're going to discuss their entire feuds, starting at the very beginning when Sneako and Charlie had both publicly expressed the exact opposite opinions on the film Cuties. Cuties was a 2020 Netflix film about a talented 11-year-old girl who rebels against her conservative family's traditions and joins a free-spirited hip-hop dance troupe. The film received criticism because of how it sexualized children, showing frequent close-up and slow-motion shots of underage girls' midsections, crotch, butts, also showing them dancing provocatively, aka twerking, humping the ground, legs spread, in minimal skin-tight clothing or underwear. Most people who watched the film found it disgusting and
It is distasteful. It is extremely distasteful. We've watched what's that little RT, what it was talking about with him doing a 20v1 and like those little girls and they're twerking and stuff. And I've already said this, so like I wholeheartedly blame the parents and the adults in this, because little kids don't just come out of the yin yang knowing how to do that. That's stuff that's usually taught from at home. So now we have to ask that question of either at home or around other people. It is, they had no business going ahead and doing that in front of a child's eyes anyway, or being exposed to music videos of that nature. So the Cuties movie is the same thing. It is very distasteful for young girls to be going ahead and being explicit to that degree like that. Like, that's a problem. But the fact is that Sneako does not have an issue with this. I'm gonna hit the fart sound for that, because what in the actual fuck? That is insane to me.
Tasteful, no matter the message the film was trying to convey. Charlie released a video called Cuties is Worse Than You Think, where he gave his thoughts.
In all possible definitions, this movie is an entire movie sexualizing children.
It is.
I understand that the point of the movie is supposed to make you uncomfortable with the subject matter of kids being sexualized. It's supposed to speak out against how it's a terrible thing, but it's so poorly conveyed that they've just ended up making a movie that hypersexualizes kids. There's so much ass shaking, so much touching from the girls, slapping, and it's just disgusting. And the camera operator, I don't know who's working the camera for this movie. It must be Dan Schneider, because the camera operator's like going up each girl's crack, going like right up for a colonoscopy. When they spread their legs, he like speed runs over there to the camera as close as possible. And again, these are actual children actresses. These aren't adults playing kids. These are actual 11, 12-year-olds. They're children.
On the contrary, Sneako released a video titled, I Have a Confession, Cuties is My New Favorite Film, where he explained how he assumed the movie was going to be terrible and repulsive, but actually thought the overall message was positive.
They know that this movie is going to age very well because it points out a generational problem. Yes, there are scenes where the girls are dancing and like probably a little too much, but then immediately after they're crying. And then they face the consequences of their action. They're ridiculed by their classmates. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z. What the film actually points out is a difference between generations, how it doesn't really make sense to force kids to be in this completely religious praying, throwing water on them. And the only solution that the parents had for when the girls in the movie started acting out was to just bring other family members into the household, and like they had the uncle put his hand on the girl's forehead like, like that's not gonna do anything.
Ironically, Sneako's view on religion being the solution to prevent these girls from participating in this sexual behavior would drastically change over the next couple of years.
I was about to say, isn't Sneako like, isn't he like he wholeheartedly talks about with religion and how like bad it is and everything like that? Like what?
Also during this video, Sneako would throw a slight jab at Charlie's reaction to the film.
Americans are like, this is deplorable. I saw this commentator, PENGUINZ0, who I actually like. There's not a lot of good commentators, but he's like, this movie is deplorable. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing. And it's like he didn't even watch the movie. It's just like he only saw the clips that were gonna piss him off. Or he just got so triggered by the provocative imagery that he just, deplorable. Come on, man. Like, don't you see the reasons why she's doing what she's doing?
Charlie ignored Sneako this time, but this was only the beginning.
Yeah.
Over the next couple years, Sneako's opinions would become more controversial, sometimes radical, which ramped up to new heights directly coinciding with the rise of Andrew Tate, who in the summer of 2022 absolutely exploded in fame for his unapologetic and often extreme takes on various social issues.
That's the world we live in now. Females are entitled and fucking lazy. Another thing I learned is that women are only loyal to the they're sucking.
Sneako seemed to halt all attempts to clearly and concisely express his thought-out opinions to being more brief, bold, and loud.
Not Timu Pitbull.
Yeah, I'm a girl and I don't shave my armpits. Who preach this bullshit idea about tolerance, love, and acceptance will also say die if you disagree with me.
In one sense, he alienated a lot of his previous audience who preferred his calmer and level-headed approach to conveying his opinions, even if they were disagreeable. Then again, his audience size exploded, seeing bigger growth in 2 months than he did in 10 years as a YouTuber. So there was no incentive for him to stop doing this new exaggerated behavior. He became the second lead voice for the popular red pill alpha male community online outside of Andrew Tate, not for being a polished professional, but rather someone who is reckless and fearless of any consequences for calling out and exposing the mainstream left wing. And in October of 2022, his explosive growth was stunted when he was banned from YouTube entirely. Now, we don't actually know the specific reason as to why he was banned. YouTube stated that they have decided to remove his channels due to severe and repeated violations of their terms of service. And if you were to analyze his content at the time, it could be interpreted as bullying, misogynistic, hateful, or like the time when he simulated himself sexually assaulting another YouTuber.
You can tell by the way she's talking that she hasn't been properly in a long time. It's been a while.
Like, shut the fuck up. Oh God, bro. Why watching this? I know it is the like, I'm a reactor and this is what it is that I do. I have to go ahead and react to shit. But golly, like Sneako is just cringe, bro. Cringe. Every time it is that we see a video talk about what Sneako is, it's all cringe all over again.
So she's on the internet making this garbage video, promoting all this feminist garbage to your lonely girls in the comment section. What you really need, chat, is some yeah, shut up with your feminism.
Whereas others look at his content as merely free speech, or that he was being cherry-picked by YouTube and unfairly targeted. Since there is tons of content on YouTube that's fully monetized that could be interpreted as harmful for children or promoting degeneracy, as well as the known pedophiles and scammers that are still not banned. But Sneako's ban prompted him to upload and create content on the online video platform and web hosting site Rumble, which has been coined the free speech platform due to its extremely lenient terms of service. Sneako did not change his viewpoints, attitudes, nor behaviors, but now it was just being seen by far less people because Rumble's viewership pales in comparison to YouTube. However, one day Sneako seemingly took things too far when he decided to bring up Charlie's girlfriend. And I'm gonna bring up today's sponsor, Factor. Eat stress-free this summer with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals.
I need to see what's
Every
up with
fresh,
Factor.
never frozen meal is chef crafted.
Bro, Simba has had one of these meals before. And when I say it is that Simba has said this openly, that she's been punishing these damn meals. I might have to see what's up with it.
Dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also, discover more than 60 add-ons every week. 75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thanks, Factor. On a Rumble live stream, Sneako decided to react to a 5-month-old video Charlie uploaded titled,
Isn't chat, remind me of this, but isn't this Fresh and Fit podcast? Isn't this the same another like brain rot podcast, if I'm not mistaken? Because isn't he with like some other light skinned dude or whatever the case is? Like, is this the one it is that like y'all talking about? It is. Okay, yeah.
most embarrassing alpha male ever. In this video, Charlie is poking fun at an influencer in the Red Pill community who runs a podcast called
It is. I've seen this bullshit rhetoric too. I've seen a few of their videos. I'm not impressed, bro. This is completely biased information that is they put out, and it's just like, gang, nobody ain't trying to hear all that.
called Fresh and Fit.
You know, we're both triple digit notch count. He's in the quadruples.
There is no reality in the entirety of the f***ing multiverse where this man has slept with one woman, let alone over 1,000 of them.
Sneako, who is friends with Fresh, decided to fire back at Charlie.
He gets more than you. He does. You need to learn game. You need to be successful. You need to learn how to DM the right people. You need to learn how to talk, how to be charismatic, how to network, how to be in the right places.
And you saying all this, but then niggas hate you, bro. How do you say this, but then like niggas don't even want to be around you the moment it is like you are in a public place with other people, bro. You literally are a like flight risk when it comes down to like career slip and slide, if you will. When it comes down to like with certain content creators, gang. Nobody wants to sit there and be dealing with that stuff with you, gang.
Fresh has got this shit down, and I didn't believe it till I saw it. I didn't think he was a version like every other liberal on here talking down. He gets more than you.
Fresh's original video was him explaining how he was at a bar in Miami and an NBA player came up to him and asked him where a good party spot in Miami was. Fresh told him, then claims the NBA player asked him for his Instagram. The NBA player followed Fresh and then saw on the mutual following tab that Fresh was following a girl that the NBA player claims he slept with, and Fresh said that he was also sleeping with her, making them wiener cousins. But critics suspected
Wow. I've heard Eskimo bros, but I've never heard wiener cousins. I've never heard that before. Wow. I hear something new every day.
that this story was entirely made up.
Why would this NBA player care to add him on Instagram? NBA players, celebrities, they don't follow like anybody at all, except for like actual close friends or business partners or something like that.
You've never been outside of Miami. You don't know what the club life is like. Why are you speaking on shit you don't know anything about? Go play League of Legends, bro, with the G-Fool in the background. Why are you talking about this lifestyle if you don't live it? He's insisting that he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Insisting, this guy's only just jerks off. NBA players don't do this. What do you know? You look like you have a Pokemon poster in the back.
Not too much. Not too much on Pokemon. Thank you very much. Not too much.
To gaming and shut the f up.
So why would he add a complete stranger who he only asked one question to?
Networking, because this is the truth about it, and it sounds like some sucking when you first hear about a world that you don't know about. It's networking. High net worth individuals, when they recognize real, like if they see the jewelry or they see their surrounding or they're at a different section, you want to be around money. Money attracts money. That's how you get friends in different places. That's how you go into a club, even though you're a millionaire and they let you in just because they want you there.
And then Sneako decided to bring up Charlie's girlfriend.
Someone just texted me. I'm not gonna say names. Someone texted me. He's in a monogamous relationship.
What's wrong with his
This
girl?
is his girl.
Hi, Harrison. What's wrong with his girl? What's wrong with his girl? Oh, they're like, they're not together anymore. But even still, it's just like that's weird, bro. That's weird. Like one thing it is like it's one thing it is if you have a disdain towards another man. If you like, that's one thing. But you bringing up a nigga's girl is weird. Especially since it is she has not had no conversations with you. She don't even talk to you. She don't even know who it is that you are or anything like that. Like like that's weird. That's weird to me. I would find that to be fucking weird. Like if I was with someone and he had a problem with another dude or whatever the case is, I don't have nothing to do with that at all. So my name being brought up, like I'm gonna look at you like, nigga, who the fuck are you? I don't even know you. That shit is so weird.
So there you go. I mean, I told you, like, I could hear it in your voice. The fact that someone doesn't have to abide by those rules, someone could go and a lot of business, that it's so foreign to a lot of people's ideas. Because when you get brainwashed, when you get told that monogamy is the answer and you need to go and be married and just settle down with some girl, when you hear other people talking about stories like this, you're like, there's no way it's true. You're a virgin.
Sneako bringing up Charlie's girlfriend without explicitly saying why was random. He just threw his hands up and shrugged his shoulders, seemingly avoiding what he actually wanted to say. The fact Sneako tried to roast Charlie with a photo of probably the most wholesome and healthy relationship I've ever seen. We live in a time where a simple healthy relationship between two people is called cringe.
Right.
This was enough to get Charlie to finally respond to him in a video called "I Didn't Want to Talk About This."
What the fuck are you even talking about? What does this have to do with anything? What does bringing up a picture of me and my girlfriend have anything to do with anything that has happened?
No,
and
not
where
yet.
is monogamy even coming from? You're fighting an invisible enemy right now. You're fighting ghosts that aren't real. Like, none of this had anything to do with the video itself of me joking about a stupid fucking story that this guy told. Like, it's so weird.
Charlie also addresses why he never responded to Sneako 3 years earlier when he was mentioned in his Cuties video.
This was my first real exposure to Sneako, and it's also the reason I don't care what his opinion is of me, because it's coming from a man who likes cuties. So why the fuck would it matter if he thinks I'm a or anything like that? It legitimately couldn't mean less coming from a guy who openly defends a softcore child production.
Charlie then
what's
brings
up,
up a
Zach?
clip of Sneako on a podcast talking about a time where he watched his girlfriend have intercourse with another man at a swinger party.
We went to a couple different sex parties.
Oh,
yeah, so we go in there with the mentality that whatever happens inside that party just stays at the party. Like,
Yeah.
And so I saw her. I've seen her other men, and it's just like that was.
seen it? I want to
Yeah,
get
so
into
I
all that.
like
That's fantastic stuff.
So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was
Fantastic stuff,
imagine
huh?
seeing the girl you love, like
Get love her?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her.
So,
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Oh, if it's gonna happen, I might as well see it, supervise it, make sure everything's okay.
wait, what? No, you didn't have to.
Supervising your girl getting banged is crazy. Being there and being like this, like, okay, I'm just making sure it is that he's putting in the whole dick. I'm just making sure it is he fucking you correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just making sure he's doing his job. What the actual What?
To jump to that conclusion.
Well, I don't.
Hold on. Wait, how close was it?
We were on the same bed. I was with his girl. He was with my girl.
You
like right
was
here.
on the bed?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, right. What
couldn't,
is
it was-
wrong
I
with
was
you?
literally having PTSD watching that. I was like having war flash. Like I just started. Could not do it.
So did they?
What position?
No. It was missionary. Missionary legs up.
It was
Like
missionary legs up?
Legs up. Yeah.
Oh no! That's such an outrageous.
So was he staring at her, like in her eyes?
Yeah, like deep eye contact.
Oh no!
Deep eye contact. Right in there.
And you was just sitting there supervising her, going ahead and being eye contact with another man. You feel so damn good about yourself. You want to openly say this with your feet out. Heard you.
No. Well, no. Okay, so let me backtrack. Top me, and she's, I don't know, yo. I'm just not. And my girl's right here, and she's like, and I'm like, oh, yo. I'm like feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. You know what?
That's
It
not
is a
bad.
legitimately super sad thing to sit there and listen to, because Sneako is very clearly bothered by that whole situation, but is trying to play it off like a
he's
deeper message.
not.
Like, no, this is actually a
Yeah.
good thing. And in fact, I recommend every guy out there try letting their girl get by another man. Then you'll know if it's real, if this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. It is tragic to listen to. Now, I want to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with open relationships. I think everyone should be completely within the right to handle their relationships however they see fit and whatever makes them happiest. But what Sneako's talking about here isn't so much an open relationship, it's cuckoldry. You have watched your girl get f***ed in front of you on at least 2 occasions that he talks about here.
Damn.
And you were right next to her, watching her get f***ed, and one time you were so upset about it you had to leave the room after the 3rd pump, you said.
This video got nearly 7 million views, so Sneako had millions of people who likely never knew much about him before calling him a cuck, as well as someone who potentially is interested in CP due to him defending the Cuties movie. But Sneako believed his podcast clip about the swinger party was taken out of context.
Was my intention to go to the swinger party because I enjoy seeing one of my girls with another guy? No.
It doesn't matter, gang. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your intentions were when it goes down to this damn swinger party. At the end of the day, you still went and you still was watching your girl get demolished. I mean, dicked down by another man. And you had to sit there and deal with that. And you're talking about it openly with your feet out in a damn podcast. It doesn't matter what your intentions was. That's what it is that you did. So you got to deal with the consequences.
I wanted to swap with the couple to make it fair for her because I was being guilted. I felt bad that I was cheating a lot. We had done threesomes many times and it wasn't fair. The thing is...
Now this changes everything. So you was out here cheating on your girl and you couldn't sit there and watch your girl get banged by another dude, but you out here cheating on her like this? Boy, get the fuck out of my face.
It doesn't have to be fair. The goal of a man is to be the best man possible, where things are, in that scenario, it doesn't have to be equal. It is what it is. And I'm honest. I'm an honest person. I talk about everything. The only 2 things that they have against me are the Cuties movie and that. And they'll continue bringing it up again and again and again. And I'll continue streaming and spreading the truth.
Well, it's not just that. It's, on top of that, too, you don't agree with the age of consent being 18. You are saying it is that it's based off of maturity. But when you get asked the level of what is a level of maturity for a young girl, a growing young girl, you can't answer that shit. So, in retrospect, you're weird.
Charlie had no intentions to respond and keep the back and forth going, but Sneako would constantly
Just like
beg
how
Charlie
that other
to
guy
debate
spreads
him.
your girl's cheeks. Ironic.
I would like to have a discussion. I would like to have a debate with this guy. I would like to, if he wanted to come to Miami and come on Fresh and Fit, sit at a table in real life and have a discussion about male-female dynamics. Oh my, but he won't do it. He won't. Come on the show and debate. It'd be great content. If it's the most laughable show ever, if it's so bullshit, then you should be able to laugh your ass off and make these butt jokes or whatever
Yeah,
you're
he
talking
did
about.
say that,
Come on the
Justin.
show and debate. If you're so
It's
much better than
crazy.
it, if it's so, then it should be easy. It should be light work, but you won't.
And eventually, Charlie would take the bait. But throughout the end of 2022 and beginning of 2023, Charlie completely moved on and never talked about Sneako. But Charlie's face would often be used in Sneako's branding as a way to represent the soy boy or woke mind. He would use Charlie's face on thumbnails even if the content had nothing to do with him. Sneako would also use this collage of YouTubers who...
That's weird. I feel like that's weird. That's weird. If the content had nothing to do with Charlie, then why does you use this man onto for clickbait like that? That's weird. That's
made
weird.
commentary videos about him, grouping them together as people who are controlled by the Matrix and pushing the
Right,
liberal
Zach, like, that's
agenda.
just so
One
weird.
night, while promoting a live stream, he tweeted the photo, "Pattern recognition. This collage is everyone who advocated for my cancellation. Fight back and follow my rumble." To which Charlie replied, "Holy sh, you pathetic, sensitive, soy little worm. I made fun of you for watching your girlfriend get effed by numerous other men and also insulted you for defending CP. That's not cancellation, that's just spitting on you for being a pitiful, sad cuck. This tweet got 345,000 likes and over 28 million views.
Golly.
An absolute bomb was dropped on Sneako, to which he replied, "You know in your soul you would never say that to my face." And then, "Like this tweet if you want to see us fight," which got 43,000 likes and 9 million views. Additionally, on a live stream, Sneako sent some of his viewers over to Charlie's stream on Twitch to tease him. Sneako then proceeded to pull out a pistol while dancing and waving it at the camera, while also alluding that
How was this not harassment? How was this not literal harassment and cyberbullying? Like, I just don't understand this. This is literal textbook of that. Rumble, you need to do better than this. With along with Kick and Rumble, these things should not be allowed on here because this is literal, like, you buffoon, you idiot. Yeah, yo, that clip of Charlie will always make me laugh. But this is why I have an issue with other platforms, because there lax levels of rules when it comes down to TOS. It becomes an issue for me. That's when it is that people tend to act more outlandish than what they need to, and knowing damn well it is they wouldn't do that organically. So Kick and Rumble, I'm not really the best. Like, I'm not really looking at that in the most favorable lighting as of right now because of the stuff it is that you allow. But actually having an actual weapon, a firearm and stuff like that on stream and promoting and dancing with it, that's a problem.
he would pull up to Tampa, Florida, where Critical lives, since Sneako is in Miami.
You wanna watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips.
You buffoon.
You want me to watch your clips? Watch my clips.
And the way Charlie responded to Sneako's threats would set the internet on fire.
But he's a imbecile. You absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clip.
Yeah. Yo, shout outs to Charlie, bro. Shout outs to Charlie, bro. Just hearing that part alone just makes me laugh, bro. That part alone, I remember reacting to this and putting this up on the main channel. Man, is that hilarious.
Clips. These are mags. They're mags, not clips. You absolute dummy. The same way that this is also a mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips. You look stupid here.
Not only was Charlie educating him, but he was also taunting him with his much larger and more powerful weapon. I cannot overstate enough how viral this moment was. You can find multiple Reddit threads with thousands of upvotes sharing this clip, an endless amount of viral tweets highlighting the situation, and
a lot of reactors, including myself, that seen this and it was dying laughing. It was on Charlie's side, bro.
Literally every single reaction streamer on the internet reacted to this video. Charlie's video, which was called Sneako is Horrible, has over 15 million views and is
it's kind of one of my highest reactive videos, I ain't gonna lie.
Charlie's 7th most viewed video of all time, which is insane considering he has uploaded 5,500 videos over the past 16 years. Millions and millions and millions of people saw this video, or at least a clip of this video, and 99.9% of people were on Charlie's side. As if Sneako couldn't get dunked on any harder, Meat Canyon, one of the largest animation YouTubers on the platform, made a video poking fun at the entire situation, which got over 13 million views.
What?
I remember this.
Hey, yo, baby.
What?
Can you and your man take this into the other room, please? I can't hear myself think with all that love making you're doing.
Fine,
Thank you so
whatever.
much,
No problem. No problem, Sneaky. No problem.
It's Sneako. It's Sneako.
Sneaky.
Yo, chat! Charlie is at my door! What should I say to him?
Sneako realized it was a joke, but still felt like he had to defend himself.
He knows what I talk about. He knows my message, but he's focusing on all the things to try to invalidate what I'm saying. He's calling me a cuck, calling me skinny, and trying to make Moist Critical Charlie seem like the badass, even though that guy doesn't really leave his house, even though he would never
the tiny legs, bro.
say the stuff that he says, the insults that he says to somebody's face. He will do a debate with me on my phone, but he'll edit it up and he won't come and actually even sit for a live debate. It's pretty much all a lie. I get that this is funny, right? Like, oh, Sneako's dying, but it is purporting a lie. He will say, what Meat Canyon did in this reaction video is he pretended to like, oh, people are calling me out saying Meat Canyon went woke. I don't really know what Sneako talks about. Yes, you do. If you know enough about me to where like, you know about my relationships in the past, or you know, like what the details of my room, right? You know what I talk about, but you're choosing to ignore it to try to invalidate my character, because what I talk about, you can't really argue with.
If the beef ended here, it would have easily nailed the coffin shut. Charlie would have been seen as the clear winner who dismantled a guy that started the beef in the first place and just wouldn't leave him alone. But the beef did not end here, and over time, the tides would slowly turn in Sneako's favor. Even after being eviscerated online, Sneako would quadruple down on his love for the movie Cuties. Cuties is really about how important Islamic values are in the face of satanic wokeness. I love Cuties.
I will continue to defend the movie Cuties until Moist Critical decides to debate me about it.
So Charlie said, all right, let's talk.
I'm not a debater. I actually am not a fan of debates in general. I prefer just general conversations as opposed to these like gotcha and leading questions and traps and I think that's not very conducive to actual understanding of different sides of arguments. But here, this was a very laid back, very calm and collected Sneako who was actually more than willing to concede on some of his points as well as see different sides of situations.
Charlie and Sneako had a private Discord conversation, but Sneako asked Charlie if he could record it so they could both post it on their platforms. Sneako posted the entire raw 1 hour 18-minute conversation, and Charlie posted a 1 hour and 14-minute conversation and interrupt moments to explain himself and add additional commentary and clarify his thoughts in retrospect. It took them 20 minutes to come to a very simple conclusion.
So there's two ways the movie could have been changed to be more effective and that people would understand the message. One, they could have used child actors and they should not have been sexualized in that way. Or two, they could have been 18 plus and it could have been sexualized, but then it wouldn't have been as effective. One of the two should have changed. I agree.
Okay, so then do you think there's like levels to sexualization of kids that is acceptable and then unacceptable?
No, this is never acceptable to sexualize children, but
then we agree. So then can we then say, since this film sexualized children, I can't really champion the film. However, the message is okay. Like, I like the message.
I agree completely. But the reason I defend that movie is because I think everybody just saw those scenes and looked past the message and looked past the good moral that the director had when making it.
That could very well be the case for some people, right? 100%.
But then they chatted for another hour on various topics that they disagreed on. Charlie was trying to do everything in his power to understand yet challenge Sneako's belief system, to ask him questions for deeper explanations, to point out the hypocrisy in his behavior online, and try to find the nuance in many of his arguments. Time and time again, Charlie made good arguments that were very rational. And while Sneako was willing to concede on some points and admit that at times he can be contradictory or hypocritical, overall he remains firm in his beliefs no matter what and will not change them. Because he doesn't think that his beliefs are controversial. He thinks that they're the truth and that the truth is controversial.
What I've
debatable.
Realizing this, that you should make those intentions more clear, because I had no idea about how to be. I knew that you play video games, you reacted to what's popular, wrestling stuff, and you try to like people, if they're tired after work, they can go watch me game. That's what I know you for. I think that you should make that more clear. I make that specifically clear in all my streams, and you think it's repetitive because I want people to know exactly what I believe in. It's not controversial for clickbait. I have a specific worldview.
The worldview that you have is one that contradicts with what you put out online.
Additionally, Sneako believes that Charlie fails to express his true belief system online and is not being a positive role model for his audience.
What do you think I stand for, Sneako?
I have no idea what you stand for.
Then why do you keep
videos? I don't know what your beliefs are. It's not clear. It's not clear, and I think that now, seeing what's happening to Andrew and Tristan Tate and what's happening to men who push the ideas that I push, I think it should be very clear for everybody watching that you watch a content creator that has a specific ideology. I've watched you like in high school and college, and it's like drama content, you're covering stuff in the news. I have no clue what your belief system is. I've seen your music videos with the Antichrist, and you're smoking weed, and you play a lot of video games, and you kind of Like, there's a lot of other commentary channels. You look at the header, it says, "We talk about stuff." And I have no idea what position they're coming from, because it's not in your best interest to have a point of view. It's better to just cover drama and make AdSense money off of it. If you have a specific ideology that goes against what social media pushes, look where I am. I'm on Rumble, nobody watches your video, and everyone piles on you.
So there's a very big difference. The content you used to make, I wasn't super familiar, but I went back and looked. You used to make thought-provoking, more artsy pieces, and then you transitioned more into lecturing and life advice. The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like cuties. We'll tie it back to cuties. When I saw that film and the way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized, because now you have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider, to be child. So I would give my perspective on that. This is gross and here's why. And then I'd list out some of the absolutely repulsive scenes, like the children watching like campsites, twerking, being filmed twerking, all of it with real children. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
When I'm covering goofy shit like Gwyneth Paltrow being sued for a ski accident, do I need to tie it back into like the woke agenda or something in order for you to get my perspective? I don't think so. It should just be about entertainment. That's always like
the
the core.
It should
of
be
it.
about entertainment. There should be some value that you're adding to your audience. I think that that's a problem, and I think that your audience should pressure you into have a more specific point of view rather than just saying fun things. You can be funny and still have a point of view. It's getting harder for men out there, and you see it. They go to jail, and people laugh about it. It's getting harder for men to survive in this climate now.
The conversation got heated at points, but they ended on a positive note.
I want to thank you for starting that whole Sneako hate brigade, because it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am guilty of doing the same things that I.
First of all, Charlie didn't even start that. It was Sneako that did that. Sneako kept pushing the agenda by talking about this man, using this man as clickbait onto his videos. I don't know why it is that he was trying to say that Charlie was on the one that started the hate train when it was literal Sneako. I'm confused on that. I'm wholeheartedly confused on that.
And mad about, and I do attribute a lot of that to being canceled and a lot of resentment about that, but I just have to spread positivity now and not engage in the same type of behavior that I criticize. Yeah, you're right about that.
And meanwhile, it is, you have certain content creators that really just don't even bang with you, bro. I don't understand how it is that you said this, and then yet there's other creators that won't even look you in the eye in a public setting, because they know the level of stuff it is that you do, the things that you say is bad business. That is not good for that's not good for you. You say this, and then when you go to certain events and stuff like that, then you end up bitching about like, oh, well, nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to be friends with me. This, and this. You do it to yourself at the end of the day. But Charlie's the one it is that started the hate train? Okay.
So I'm just going to go and, I'm not going to go attack mode anymore. I don't think that there's any value to that. It's just going to come back to me.
Well, I actually really appreciate the conversation.
Is that, mind you, Kai and Speed walked past him so gladly and went with their day. Exactly. This is some sauceless ass shit.
Man, it's nice to hear like a more human side of you outside of like, what I see on Twitter or Rumble.
It's actually amazing that internet drama ended in a mature and well-handled conversation. But if you think that meant everybody now understands Sneako and they're on his side, you'd be wrong. On a post in the critical subreddit asking if people's opinions about Sneako changed after their conversation, you can see replies like, "No, it just makes me hate him even more because seeing him act out of character just proves to me he is one of the biggest grifters today and purposely takes advantage of his vulnerable young audience for profit." And
which is why I find that interesting that he's trying to tell Charlie, Charlie's audience to challenge him more. But you literally put on a facade in order to, because of the fact that you're getting higher views than what it is you was organically doing with your much more toned down approach. You seen that and then completely did a 180 when it comes down to your character and stuff. And this is why I have issues with people who are classified red pill streamers and stuff. Because again, being with this level of responsibility of being a streamer, a content creator, the things it is that we say is a lot of stuff it is you guys follow by. And that could be an unfortunate thing or a fortunate thing, depending on what it is that you say. So you have people that's like him and many of the other people it is that's either on Rumble or Kick that be on the bullshit. They think that that's okay. They think that's, well, if this person is getting paid to do this and this, I want to be just like this particular person. And then they go out in everyday life and start acting like that towards other people. And that is the wrong way to go about it. That is my issue. It is that I have with this. And I've been saying this for the longest time. Mind you, Neon had a similar clout chasing bitch that couldn't fight and had a similar issue like Sneak. Exactly, he's another one.
And not really. My opinion on Charlie, however, has skyrocketed. Always loved him and his content, but this conversation really showed how reasonable and down to earth he is. Ironic that Sneako tries to make himself a role model, but Charlie ended up doing that for me just by being himself. Although people realize that Sneako is not actually this manic, loud, obnoxious person in real life, they still just fundamentally disagreed with his worldview. And oddly enough, it made people like Charlie even more. Yet while Charlie was receiving more praise than ever, just 1 month later we would see one of the first of 2 times where Charlie received a major amount of criticism for one of his takes. When nearly his entire audience was disagreeing with him in the comments of his reaction to iDubbbz apologizing for his past behavior on YouTube. For context, iDubbbz, aka Ian, was one of the OGs of YouTube commentary back in 2014, 2015, and 2016, who rose to popularity with his Content Cop series after multiple videos received tens of millions of views. iDubbbz was known for being extremely edgy, often being blatantly racist or using racial slurs, being homophobic,
Because being racist is completely edgy. Okay.
harassing or bullying others, and creating all-around controversial material that under no circumstances would be allowed on YouTube today. However, for many years, he and his die-hard, cult-like fanbase remained firm in their stance that this was all just jokes, comedy, entertainment, and by no means did his
How was that? YouTube is very interesting when it comes down to what they classify with their levels of TOS. How is that edgy? How is that funny? How is that like levels of jokes? Because if somebody was to make a video and have the word hard R or another form of slurs and stuff like that, then a regular person would end up getting a warning or a strike onto their channel because of like hate speech or, you know, cyberbullying or like harassment and stuff like that. But how is that allowed? Like I don't understand that.
humor represent him as a man, whereas his detractors felt that even if his jokes didn't represent his values, they attracted the attention and fandom of actual racists, bigots, homophobes, and justified as well as perpetuated that behavior. As Ian got older, he began to transform his content. He grew tired of his previous edgy ways and began to resent them. And in May of 2023, he posted a video titled "I Miss the Old iDubbbz," where he addressed his conflicting thoughts and feelings about his legacy on YouTube, as well as apologizing for his past behavior.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, you know, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions, you know, but that's so silly, you know. Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry. And, you know, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. I've just always had this dumb philosophy that I'm not responsible for, you know, my audience and how they behave beyond what content I put out. And that's stupid. And it's led to a lot of hate and a lot of bad outcomes.
This is why it is that I said this earlier. However it is you are known for being famous or being viral or being known or anything like that, you need to be careful to what the rhetoric is. Because if you're out here putting levels of bigotry and being racist and then trying to be edgy with the like racism and stuff like that, that's a problem. This is why I say this with the red pill community, because you see how a lot of these streamers, quote unquote, are getting exposed for being on like the Monkey app or Omegle and stuff like that. You start bringing in an audience, it is that's all they want to see is you basically belittling women or putting or putting out stuff it is without their consent. You think it is that's a normal thing to do. So with this, and the fact that he didn't believe that his he didn't care for his responsibility for his audience, that's the problem. And that is a wholehearted problem. That's interesting.
And I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely responsible for my audience.
Charlie was very quick to chime in and give his opinion on Ian's apology, which may sound strange, but reacting to YouTuber apologies is somewhat of a tradition here on the platform.
He wasn't happy with the content he made or the person he was, and now he's trying to apologize for the videos he made. And I, once again, have to completely disagree with the way he looks at it. I feel like his perspective on it is very warped by the way the internet has evolved over the years. The way he talks about this content makes it sound like he used to murder puppies for these videos, which it was never that extreme. I very much would consider it edgy. It was 2016 edginess in all of its glory. That was entirely the brand. And for its time, it lived peacefully. You know, all four nations, water, earth, fire, air, lived together in harmony with all this edginess going on. Now, obviously, times have changed, and he has changed. He's gotten older. He's in his 30s now. In your 30s, it's not exactly entertaining to just be spamming slurs for shock humor.
I mean, it's not, I swear, people need to, whatever this PR is about with being in your 30s, because now that I'm in my 30s, I don't look anywhere remotely in my damn 30s to begin with. It's even worse with glasses. I look a lot younger. I look like a damn teen. It's even worse that I look so damn young with this. I wouldn't say a teen, but I'd say maybe 20, early 20s and stuff like that I look extremely young. But I don't know why people think it is when you get to 30, you just become old feeble and shit and just croak, because that's not the case. 30s is being extremely young still at the end of the day. So when I hear people say that, it's hilarious. But if you've been on YouTube or doing content from way early on, maybe within your teen years, or 18, 19, 20s, that era, and then you get to a point of being within your 30s now, it's whoa, this is the content it is that I was doing, or maybe I'm not too happy about how I was perpetuating certain things of that nature. Now, what kind of killed it a little bit with Charlie, because I did not watch this video in particular, is him saying that it was a little edgy. That is where it's Charlie, that's not edgy. That's not edgy. He knows exactly what it is. Well, Charlie, not Charlie, but the other guy knew exactly what it is that he was doing. But now that he's older, he's seeing it is oh, I made a terrible mistake by saying this, by doing this, and this, that can come back to bite you. So,
I don't find that entertaining, and he doesn't either. So it's totally fine to want to distance yourself from making content like that. But I don't think it was a mistake that he made those videos. They're not hurtful, nor do I really think they're damaging.
So Charlie seemingly disagrees with Ian's personal decision to apologize for his past behavior. Then he downplays Ian's behavior by saying it wasn't that bad. This is where he started getting immense criticism, notably from popular YouTuber D'Angelo Wallace.
What's up,
iDubbbz literally encourage people to say the N-word with a hard R. How is that anything other than harmful content? This was a talking point, an extended talking point in a video that has 30 million views now. Now, it might not be harmful or damaging to Charlie because, he would obviously be unaffected by words like that, but surely Charlie doesn't think iDubbbz was actually apologizing to him, right?
I just don't think that the apology is really warranted. You can explain I just don't like making that content anymore, so I won't. I even regret making that content because it's kind of cringe now. But to think that it is this huge, massive problem, you made an unforgivable mistake, is a little weird to me.
This is the part where I was like, hold on. You really just heard iDubbbz say I apologize to black people for being racist, and then you got on your channel and said, I don't think the apology was warranted? Broski. He also apologized to Tana Mojo and other subjects of his content cops as well, but nowhere in this apology was anything directed towards anyone like Charlie. How are you going to reject an apology to me before I have time to accept it?
D'Angelo was not the only person.
This I can understand. This I can understand. Because if you're you're going to like, and especially like with Charlie, it's not going to affect him because that wording is not an offensive wording to him per se. But for somebody that's like myself, like the other content creator here, or anybody else that is who are black, that is an offensive word, you know. So before it is, we even get the chance to go ahead and be like, hey, listen, I ain't like that. This is this blase, like, you know, okay, I see where he's coming. I'm seeing where it is they're coming from with this.
And who was confused and disappointed by Charlie's take. His comment section was very quick to call him out. It's really easy to pretend there was no harm done when you weren't the one being harmed.
Fair.
Charlie really underestimates how much of an effect iDubbbz had on the online community. It's not like he was a child when he was doing this stuff. He was a 28-year-old man. Making a 21-minute video about how his 10-minute apology was too much and unnecessary is peak irony. Charlie received so much backlash that 7 hours later he uploaded another 18-minute video called Huge L Take.
I've noticed we've got ourselves a little bit of a sour hootenanny on our hands here after my latest video on the iDubbbz situation. It's being hailed as a big L take from old Charles White here, and in the cyberspace, an L take is criminal, and the punishment for the crime is 1,000 different labels.
From there, he tried to clarify his previous 20-minute video about iDubbbz's apology.
Since then, people have done some very uncharitable interpretations of what I've been saying, and I guess I can't really blame them. If I'm not abundantly clear with where I stand on things, I've learned that everything gets lost with ambiguity, and people run with the absolute most negative narrative they can find, and the wildest ways to misconstrue some statements. So I actually can't even be mad about that.
Nobody really misinterpreted Charlie's first video. They understood his points very clearly. This has mad, I'm sorry you got offended energy. Just hold the L, brother. You earned it. The overarching criticism was expressed very clearly by D'Angelo Wallace.
Here's the thing, and this is probably the point I'm gonna be the harshest about, sorry, but no matter how you interpreted iDubbbz's original reasoning for posting that apology, no matter how you look at it, that apology was not intended for you. You've taken a situation that is really important to a lot of people, and you have centered it around yourself and your opinion. And I know that might sound really similar to what commentary is all the time, but it's really different in this specific case because in doing so, you're invalidating the experiences of others by downplaying the severity of what they said they went through. And you're doing so on a platform that is so large, it will completely drown out any conversation from the people who are actually affected by this.
Charlie was perceived as wrong, then the internet as well as his own fan base criticized him, and he kinda doubled down on it. Sneako would be very proud of him. And Sneako also agreed that Ian should not have apologized.
Yo, bro, what is he waffling about, man? Isn't this lowering your testosterone right now? Don't you feel transgender watching this?
And for well over 1 year...
Whoa. 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 Wow. Wow. That was very not necessary, gang. Jesus Christ.
Charlie and Sneako went their separate ways. They both stayed very consistent in their respective careers, and it seemed like their beef was over for good. And then Ava Chris Tyson got exposed for being a PDF file a few weeks ago, which set the internet ablaze. Chris Tyson is Mr. Beast's best friend, you know, the #1 most subscribed creator on the platform. This controversy, when it's all said and done, will probably be considered one of the biggest in the platform's history. And naturally, when there's major controversies, all big YouTubers will chime in and give their opinions. Sneako and many others online incorrectly predicted that Charlie would not discuss the Ava situation at all because it was too controversial.
Yo, look out, Moist Critical is not gonna go talk about the Chris situation because he wants to have the Mr. Beast collab. Bro, you're gonna talk about every other trending situation, Dr. Disrespect, Sneako, anything that goes viral goes on your main channel. Chris, the associate of the biggest YouTube channel in the world, you do a 4-minute clip on your second channel. Stop coping and be a journalist if you're gonna be a journalist, or just say that you wanna have the collab. Stop lying.
Being loud and wrong is just insane to me.
4-minute clip he was referring to was Charlie on a live stream giving some quick thoughts on the situation before making an entire main channel video about it. Obviously, we now know that Charlie made a main channel video breaking down everything, which was uploaded on July 23rd, 2024, called Ava Chris Tyson Situation is Crazy. In this video, Charlie gave the details about the grooming and PDF file allegations against Mr. Beast's friend and crew member, who was caught sending sexually suggestive suggestive and explicit messages to a 14-year-old, as well as indulging in lolly, which is a controversial genre of anime or manga that features explicit sexual depictions of underage female characters. As a result of the Protect Act of 2003, lolicon meets the federal criteria for child prawn. Charlie's video has over 10 million views, which is well above the average views he normally gets. Therefore, it's safe to assume that Charlie's video was watched by a bunch of people who don't normally watch him, or they don't really understand his viewpoints or values. In the video, Charlie uses they/them pronouns while referring to Chris, who goes by she/her at the time of Charlie recording the video, which led to multiple tweets calling him transphobic. 22 minutes and doesn't once refer to her by her actual pronouns. So disappointing to see Moist Critical refuse to be an actual ally of the LGBT community just to appease the transphobes in his audience. Literally every other person got referred to by their pronouns except Ava. It wasn't just Charlie. Kai Cenat was also criticized for doing the same thing while reacting to Chris and using he/him pronouns. The misgendering on purpose is so gross. She's a pedo. Attack that she's a pedo, not her identity, please. Whereas the
Okay.
counter argument to this was said by ex-Mr. Beast crew member Jake the Viking. Pronouns don't mean shit when you're caught talking inappropriately to kids. Sorry, not sorry. It's not that trans allies disagreed with the criticism of Ava. They just believe that not using preferred pronouns, even if the person in question is potentially a PDF file, leads to the normalization of people not using transgender preferred pronouns as a whole. Whereas we all know there are opposers that are just not interested in using preferred pronouns as a whole, and then others that are like, I will respect anyone's pronouns, but not a file. I personally thought that they/them was considered gender neutral. And if
I'm so glad it is that he said it, because I really thought that too. I'm sorry. I really thought it. I thought that was like, you know, in order to like not be offensive in any form of way. This is why I talk about this a lot. For my people of the LGBTQ plus community, there has to be a level of education for the people that just don't know, because there are a lot of miseducation that comes from it. I mean, I thought the same thing. I thought it was more of a gender neutral type of thing of being classified as they/them, so it doesn't come off offensive in any form of way. But then not trying to be offensive almost comes off as being transphobic, and that's not the case. And that wording gets thrown around so much, bro. It gets thrown around a lot, and I need that to be kind of like it's not being phobic. It's certain things that is like people just don't know fully. Now, of course, what's up, Jedi? If you're preferring Ava as he, even though it is that, you know, that now is as the name of Ava, which even for myself, when I reacted to this, I said mainly just Ava's name, so I don't be offensive when it comes down to this. But Jesus Christ, bro. I was good, Sammy. I see you.
If you don't know or are
As someone who is somewhat in the LGBTQ community, pronouns is a little tricky to understand. Man, I'm sorry. No, I understand that. And this is why I ask, even for myself, of just to specify on certain things like pronouns. But I thought that, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that too. I thought like they/them was kind of a gender neutral type of thing, so it doesn't come off as offensive, you know? Or if somebody, you know what I mean? Hi, Minnie, how are you? So we are talking about what Charlie and Sneako's situation, and there's being brought up about with the Ava Chris Tyson situation, and the fact that Charlie got criticism and a couple other streamers got criticism because Charlie preferred to Ava as they/them, and that came off as being transphobic because of the fact that they used the term they/them instead of she/her for that.
Are unsure of somebody's pronouns, then using they/them is not considered offensive. And there's a lot of research that supports that train of thought, but Twitter says otherwise. Sneako kept pressing the entire industry to talk about Ava Tyson, and then criticized the ones who did speak out.
Bogeyman says, I don't know all the details regarding the Chris situation, but I want to make it clear, any inappropriate behavior towards minors is unacceptable regardless of who you are. It's the same people you see this as an opportunity to attack the trans community. What? Satan runs the industry and Pokemon is proof. Chris gets caught being a pedophile, and she defends the trans community instead of disavowing Chris. These are the standards of every streamer right now. They care more about the demonic trans ideology than kids getting groomed.
He continued to express his thoughts and feelings about Ava through a...
Bro, I don't understand.
Ideology than kids getting groomed.
He continued to express his...
Who? Sneako. You're not black, gang. You're not. Who told you that that wording was an acceptable thing? Listen, nigga, Chris Tyson cut his dick off and abandoned his family because he likes kids. But wasn't you just out here promoting the fact of like you love the movie Cuties and then talked about children basically being exposed to CP? So what are we? Okay.
His thoughts and feelings about Ava through a barrage of tweets that were getting him an above average amount of engagement and a ton of support.
And has to lie and say that Chris Tyson is a woman, which is so funny because in a world where this dude is losing everything for touching children, messaging children, people care more about misgendering a pedophile than the actual pedophile acts.
Sneako is a real one for that. People who are defending Chris's pronouns are undercover pedos. And of course, he had to send some shots at Charlie.
Today I was looking at Twitter and I was looking for what's trending the most.
Doing pretty good, how are you?
And this is the weirdest thing. It's mixed with poopy diarrhea and dog shit mixed in a smoothie. So Chris Tyson was actually a pedophile, but this guy Sneako that I don't like because he tells the truth, how is he going to tell me that I'm afraid of losing the poopy diarrhea Mr. Beast collab?
So during Charlie's video about Ava, he shifted the focus to discuss Sneako's opinion on the age of consent.
Now, Sneako, I hope you're ready for the cold water here, because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. When this story broke, I thought for sure, I would have actually bet money that you would have been some kind of contrarian talking about how this is actually not a big deal and everyone who's pretending to be outraged about it is actually just a hypocrite. Because you have been on this crusade for a while now about not agreeing with the age of consent. So I really thought you'd be talking about how, oh, this is just like Dr. Disrespect, who you ran hard defense for with this imaginary 17-year-old you cooked up in your head based off of one fake email from an anonymous source. And I thought you would be going that angle again, saying like, oh, well, that 13-year-old was probably very mature.
Age of consent should be maturity. It's not even 18 in most states. Why do you even believe that? It's because in Hollywood, it's 18, so that gets pushed everywhere. Most places, 16. And if you question that, then they call you a pedo. I believe the age of consent is the age of maturity. It should be called the age of marriage. Age of consent implies...
Yep. The same person it is that has a problem with the age of consent believes it should be the age of maturity or the age of marriage. What?
You're gonna have out of wedlock. I think it's better that people get married at 16, 17 than to have a bunch of premarital until they're 30 and they're washed up and then they get jaded and they're on birth control and they have dried up eggs. I think that's better for society.
He's so pseudo-intellectual that he actually argues for things that defend pedophilia.
He then also played a clip where Sneako was confronted about his view on the age of consent but could not provide a clear answer.
We update or not, what do you think the age of consent should be, Sneako?
Yeah, this is not an important conversation.
No, it's a super... You don't...
This is not an important conversation. Okay.
Kids are not as an important conversation. What do you think the age of consent should be? If you want to be consistent, you don't think anything updates, just tell us what you think it should be.
I think it should be past at a developed age.
At a what is a developed age? If you had to set a law for it, what would you set it? What would you set it about?
I'd say it's a developed age.
No, answer the question, you fucking pussy. Holy shit, you're such a cowardly.
Wow. Wow. Damn. Called him a pussy. Damn.
Stand up for what you believe in. If you actually are Muslim, you're actually Islamic or whatever, then stand up for your beliefs. Every other Muslim scholar online will do this. Do it. Stand tall on it. Don't act like a little pussy in here trying to grill XQC on modern meta ethics or whatever. If you want to answer basic questions about your worldview, what should the age of consent be?
Damn.
you see how
you want to answer the question? You see how he's gonna yap and not answer the question? I'm gonna ask the same thing when you're done. Go ahead.
I just answered the question. I just told
What
you.
was the age?
Sneako also DM'd Charlie to explain himself more about his thoughts on the age of consent. People should legally drive and marry at the same age. Is that driver's permit age 15 or driver's license age 16? As Muslims, we believe it's our duty to follow the law of the land. It wasn't a spiritual question. I have no issue with any faith at all. This is a personal belief question that your response didn't answer. I'm happy to discuss this in a call if you're that curious. And that was it. Almost a year and a half later, the second official Sneako vs. Moist critical debate was established. Charlie retroactively expressed the same sentiments as the first debate, that he thought it would just be a private phone call and not put on the internet.
I didn't know this was a debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark. I am not a debater. I've never claimed to be one.
Right.
I never want to be a debater. I've always said that I believe conversations are the most productive because debates always devolve into what side can score the most points by explaining
Charlie,
their
show
thought
him your clips
process,
again.
even if the position is wrong.
Sneako began the debate by arguing that there should not be a hard line agreed upon age of consent because everyone matures differently, as well as that we shouldn't let the government define at what age someone is an adult.
That's not the point. I'm saying, you're saying that the US defined adult as 18. Well, I'm saying 200 years ago, the age of marriage in America was 10 and the UK was 7. Right, so if the government decides to change it, you're saying it's 18. If the government, maybe if Kamala Harris gets elected, then the new legal age of an adult is 25. And there could be reasons to say that. They graduated college, they don't leave the house until this age, their brains don't develop until they're 25, your frontal cortex is not fully developed until you're 25 years old. A lot
So
of
that
people
was
aren't
back
making-
then? Yeah, that was. I said that even in the video that talked about this, that the age of consent, I mean, years ago, I mean, it went based off of like, even during the slavery era, the moment it is that a young girl started her period was a quote unquote indication to say it was ready for children. Or if y'all know about what the production of children, aka breeding farms of all that stuff, may I add, it is like a child could get their period at like 9 and stuff like that, and then that was what that was at the time. And even in medieval times, it's been documented within history. It is like that age has been extremely low. But I will say this, yes, that 18, even though it is considered that you are an adult, for me, I feel as though 25 is when it is, and older is when it is you actually are an adult. For sure. Like mature wise. And I use that wording kind of loosely here because you got some very immature as grown adults past 25 as well. But this man Sneako has been having such an issue with the age of consent that, like, come on, bro, come on. Past 32, yeah, oh yeah. There's grown adults in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s still acting like big ass kids.
Making serious money, they're not able to live independently. A lot of things that you could use to classify an adult don't happen for the new age American until 25 years old. So if Kamala Harris raised it to 25, would you then say that that's the new age? Would you agree with that?
I think that'd be totally understandable. Like,
Right.
I think
So
that's
does
fine.
that, so then
Like,
does
if
that
you-
make
if you
so then does that make anybody who sleeps with an under 25-year-old, does that now make them a pedophile?
No, I don't think necessarily that makes them a retroactive pedophile.
What- so then what's a pedophile?
It's an accepted definition of 18 for a long time. Is
Not for
the
that long.
agreed upon-
Not for that long, and not through most states, and not through most countries across the world.
Charlie believes that at 18 there should be a hardline age of consent so there isn't a gray area for predators to exist in and take advantage of minors.
So a 17-year-old who's 364 days, that's a kid?
Yep, I'm gonna use very hard set terms. If it is under 18, even if it's 17, 364, that's still a kid.
That's a kid. Okay, so right now,
I think it's important to have these hard lines in the sand where it doesn't have this kind of wiggle room.
Sneako then clarifies his definition.
You keep thinking that I'm saying this because I want the age to be lowered. That's not what I'm talking about at all.
That's what it comes across as, though.
Exactly.
When you say
Maybe
that
with the
you are-
internet brain, because people in the West, they want to have sex all the time and they have a different sort of mindset, right? Here in the Middle East, I'm in the Middle East right now. They want to get married and then have sex. So people, just because I'm saying this does not mean automatically lower. No, that's not the case at all.
We don't have to talk about sex. Do you think it's okay to be marrying a 15 or 16-year-old? Probably not, right? I would imagine probably not.
It depends. So this is where the age of consent becomes arbitrary. I don't even believe like that. Consent is a weird thing to even speak about, but it should be the father, right? If I want to marry a girl, I shouldn't even just get consent from her. I should get consent from her parents. She should want to say yes. Her parents would want to say yes. That's consent from the family, and then you get married.
They continued arguing back and forth on this issue for 40 minutes straight while neither side was wavering. Charlie was firm on his stance that anyone under 18 is a child and no child can consent to sex and or marriage. So Sneako pivoted to a different question regarding minors.
You could take hormone blockers, you can take puberty blockers, okay, when you're a child. When you're 16, you can go change your gender, but you can't get married? Why is that?
You would still, that's not how that works. I think we had this whole level of conversation of the amount of, well, the age is 18. If you wanted to go ahead and get surgery of any sorts, is the age of 18. But it is literally putting your life on the line of getting these surgeries. I think we had this conversation the last time it is that, this was talked about. Someone hold me back before I yell up a storm. Oh, I know he ain't talking.
That's I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty obvious question.
No, it's not. It's not. See, if you cut your penis off, like Crystal Mr. Beast, if you cut your penis off, that is a life-altering decision. You can't glue it back on. You can get divorced if you get married. This is a commitment that you're taking. A child, based off the liberal point of view that you believe in, they can have gender surgery. They can change forever. Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting, as you agree with.
Okay, so as long as everyone...
If your parents are okay with it and you are okay with it, I think that's totally...
I mean, there's plenty of parents that is okay with their children wanting to be now trans. There's nothing wrong with that, but there is a level of hormone therapy and of those natures that happens for children. But yes, once it is that you are of 18 and you could able to go ahead and proceed forward with the surgeries and stuff like that of that nature. But I mean, unless the biggest thing is making sure it is that everybody's on board and supports that, because this is, and I talked about this before. This is why that when it comes down to the people that are trans or anybody that is of the LGBTQ community, it's often let me make sure that my hold on, reconnecting, we're reconnecting, hold on, we're gonna keep recording. Okay, are we back? Are we back, y'all? Let me make sure it is that we are back here. Okay, we are. Okay. Ooh, sorry about that, y'all. I do not know why it is that happened. Got Thanos snap real quick. It's all good. It's all good. It's been my connection, but I haven't had really too much of an issue like that before. Okay. You said T-Mobile tripping? Nah, it's fine. So, as I was saying beforehand, as long as it is with the decision it is that the child wants to do, if they're considered trans, what I was saying is that anybody that is part of the LGBTQ community, this is why it is that coming out and expressing to what it is that you are and what you want to be within your truth is such a traumatic experience, because of the fact of, you got to worry about, is the people that's around me, are they going to support wholeheartedly, or they're going to be completely not with what it is that I want to be at this point. So I just don't like Sneako's point of view when it comes down to this, because it kind of makes it seem like it is oh, well, they could just go ahead and just do this, like and get surgeries at young ages and stuff like that. That's not necessarily the case when it comes down to that. There are levels to when it comes down to this, but this is why it is like again, education when it comes down to that. Like clearly it is that Sneako doesn't know what he's talking about. By the way, them glasses make you look very distinguished. Thank you.
Totally a familiar decision to make, yeah.
Okay.
Sneako laughs and even Charlie laughs because they both realize that Charlie is using the exact same line of thinking that Sneako used to justify the age of consent.
Okay, so a child can cut their penis off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married?
Oh, that's a decision that now extends beyond the family, because now you're bringing in a different party. So if you have someone that's your age coming in saying, I want to marry that child, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance.
So, but it's still a personal decision. You're still deciding. Because there's take the other party out of the equation. It's a personal decision. If I'm 16 and I personally want to marry this girl, she's beautiful. She's 21 years old. Her family wants to do it. My family wants to do it. You're saying I can't do that. We're both consenting. I'm ready to go. I'm physically mature, but I'm not allowed to marry because Moy says that woman's a pedophile. But if then the next day I leave it, I'm depressed, I want to cut my penis off, I can go right into the clinic, snip it off, and start taking HRT like Chris Tyson. That's a society that makes sense to you?
It is. I believe everyone has I believe everyone has the right to do with their body what they want to do.
Okay, but so everyone has the right to do with their body, but not when it comes to a sacred marriage where they have kids, where they add to society.
No longer just you. They can't possibly wrap their head around this adult that has been preying on them. Like, I don't know why you can't see that. A 16-year-old can't be making this decision on this adult who is convincing them that I am the right choice for you for life.
Right. But a 9-year-old boy can go into a clinic and decide that doctor, that 40-year-old doctor, can cut my penis off?
If that's a decision he and his family wants to make, it doesn't bother me. It absolutely does not bother me. Hey, maybe a 24-year-old watched your streams like, oh, you know what? This 15-year-old's pretty mature. I'm going to go ahead and start trying to talk to them. Do you think that's cool?
No, that's not cool. You're supposed to talk to the father before you get married.
I personally believe that why surgeries to change gender under 18 is immoral. Decisions of such ways made impulsively because kids are impulsive, you need to be very sure of yourself because otherwise you can regret that. Sadly, regrets are common amongst young trans. To keep in mind that it doesn't apply to the identity or yes, that I think that it's organic to have regrets within any type of surgery. There's always going to be a level of just like, did I do the right thing? Like, oh, maybe I'm not happy with this and whatnot. And plus, when you do something like that within like anything within your body, there is a level. I'm glad it is that there is a level of therapists it is that you can able to talk to and kind of express your feelings on with that. But I wouldn't say it is that kids just go to the surgery table and go ahead and do that. The age of getting surgery is 18. Kids don't know how to control their emotions or make hard decisions for themselves without asking anyone for help. I mean, some do, but ideally it is you still need to go ahead and get the final say so by the parent because the parent is the one that is the guardian and of said child. So
if her father's not okay with it,
that's
then what
the
happens?
issue you had with that scenario.
Yeah, but when you approach marriage, you don't just go approach a girl and that's not what Islamically is allowed. You're supposed to go to the father and supposed to see where it goes from there. So that's never what I said.
24-year-old talks to the father of a 15-year-old and gets his permission. Now it's cool.
Get to the father and say like, am I interested in marrying your physically mature, your adult daughter? Okay, is she okay with it?
15-year-old.
Ask the mother.
15-year-old daughter.
Get the consensus. Yes, and if he's okay with it, she's okay with it. I think that's fine. That's fine. If I told you when you were a kid that it was okay legally and morally to cut your dick off, would you agree?
Like what do you mean? Would I do it or would I say that that's okay?
Would you say that that's okay?
I'd have no idea on how to even process something like that. I'm a fucking child.
The full debate was 2.5 hours long, but honestly, these clips summarize it pretty well. The clips of the conversation went nuclear viral on Twitter. However, much of the focus seemed to be criticizing Charlie and not Sneako. People who were against minors transitioning were attacking Charlie for his viewpoint. Many simply called him out for being a fence sitter, or someone who was trying so hard to be middle ground and non-controversial to try and appease everyone. However, some people did say they were both wrong, like when some ordinary gamers responded to Nick Merckx attacking attacking Charlie. You had enough space in this tweet to include how the other guy believed 15-year-olds should get married to 20-something-old dudes. Why not mention that? That whole debate was bad takes. Or when XQC said,
well, I mean, if I'm your parent, okay, well, I mean, you're not gonna have a tattoo before you're 18. You're not gonna fucking fuck shit for life before you're 18. After you're 18, if you want to be a whatever, I guess I failed as a parent at that point. I feel like I've failed as a parent. I failed to show you the correct things for you to do good after 18, right? And what I can do is live with my choices and feel sad about it, whatever, and it sucks. But I definitely will not fucking do all that and enable the whatever before 18.
Charlie then went on another live stream where he tried to clarify what he thought Sneako was saying.
And now I give a perspective on something that immediately gets misconstrued, and I do recognize a lot of it's my fault. I assumed that Sneako was talking in hyperbole about a 9-year-old getting their dick cut off, because I didn't have the assumption that anyone thought that is how transitioning works. There is, under no circumstances, any legality behind a kid saying, I want to change genders, and then immediately going in and getting their dick cut off. That doesn't happen. I thought he was just talking in hyperbole. Obviously, no one says that's good. That's not at all what I was saying. I thought he was talking about the overall point of a child transitioning, which is years-long process.
Exactly.
And you can't even get that surgery legally until you are 18.
Thank you.
Like, I didn't think that was a literal statement he was making. I did not, and I guess I should have assumed that he was being literal, and that's on me.
Many people, Sneako included, claimed that he fully understood the question, since the debate was 2.5 hours long where they discussed the same topic multiple times. He did not misunderstand anything. He's just panicking and is confused since he's never been put in this situation before. Sneako quickly pressured Charlie to post the debate on his main channel where he felt Charlie lost.
You know Moist Critical? We did a debate and he hasn't uploaded it. Can you tell him, upload the debate?
Yes, upload the debate. So we know you.
They don't even know what the context of the debate is about. I don't even, wow, I don't like that. So you're just gonna go ahead and just go to some random women that probably doesn't know to what's going on, know about Charlie, doesn't even know about the debate itself. They just go ahead and just dick ride. Miss me with that, bro.
Upload it.
Yeah, upload.
I want to see.
Yeah.
I think he's afraid. He said he was going to upload it, but he still hasn't. It's been 3 days. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
We want to see you. That's why we don't know you, because you're not uploading stuff. We know him.
No, that is in that level of glaze, ma'am, that level of glaze, please, by all means, like, oh my god, pop it out at this point. Pop it out at this point. What?
But
we don't know you.
Basically, Sneako thought Charlie was too scared to expose himself. Then some interesting news would hit social media saying that Charlie has made the decision to leave both the official podcast and Red Thread. He wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time spent on the internet. While this post was directly talking about...
So what I find most worrying is how Sneako is bribing to question the age of consent and consideration. It is a small step, but it is a step nonetheless to justify and defend pedophilia. Now the discussion is more popular and more fucked up people are fucked about it.
About his podcasts, many people reported that he was taking a break from the internet entirely, which made Sneako and many others jump to the conclusions that Charlie could not handle the pressure and making Sneako look like the winner. And in less than 24 hours, Charlie posted a video called Moist Critical Situation is Crazy, where he clarified and discussed all of the controversy surrounding him in the past week or so, starting with him allegedly quitting the internet.
I can't even just peacefully walk away from some projects without it being a massive reaction over actual nothing burger information.
And although Charlie made it seem like he was kind of randomly deciding to step away from these podcasts and maybe it was a coincidence, under the circumstances it did seem like he was stepping away or making the announcement that he was stepping away due to the recent drama. And it's not unreasonable to think that. Charlie spent the rest of this video talking about his debate with Sneako, more specifically how he felt Sneako's take on the age of consent is outrageous.
Unironically saying a 14-year-old adult, I think, would make most sensible people want to puke. There's so many instances of this, and a lot of the conversation was spent with him talking about like overseas age of consent, like talking about how Japan's age of consent was 13 for the longest time, this and that. But the whole thing was like pulling teeth, and it was painful. And I think it's extremely alarming perspective to have. Unironically calling a 14-year-old and 12-year-old mature enough for a marriage, those are middle schoolers. Like, holy shit. I think that is extremely concerning to be advocating for something like that.
Right.
Like, would Sneako be okay if his best friend ended up marrying a 14-year-old? He certainly shouldn't be. No one should be okay with something like that. Like, that's terrible. That is actually terrible.
It wasn't until after Charlie posted his video was there an uptick in people defending him on Twitter. Now there were more viral tweets saying that Sneako was the one with the concerning opinions and Charlie was receiving unfair criticism. Charlie then discusses how he thought Sneako was speaking in hyperbole when referring to gender reassignment surgery.
I thought he was talking in hyperbole. I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning. I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works, where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off.
Now, gender reassignment surgery for minors is very uncommon, especially the cutting your penis off one. Changing genders is a long process.
It is.
It's slow, thought out, typically over the course of years while consulting with multiple medical professionals. Now, are there cases where minors do get surgery?
Yes.
Yes. Reuters reported the number.
However, I will say it is, and I've talked about this even in the last video we talked about this, of like most insurances don't cover those levels of surgeries, which is, I've talked about how much within health insurances within the US is a scam as it is anyway. Even for me with going ahead and getting braces, which is a medical, you know what I'm saying? Like it should be considered underneath dental, but it's considered under cosmetic. Getting braces is considered cosmetic. You know, anything that has to do with like dental insurance or even just eye and vision insurance is usually not covered. I can go ahead and get my glasses, a whole eye exam, but I can't get fucking contacts because that's considered a cosmetic. That's considered materialistic. It's the same thing with braces too. But somehow or another it is, we have to have health insurance in the United States. If not, then we can't get shit. We can't get nothing done. Like God forbid something happens to us and we don't get no type of insurance. We get a hefty ass bill at the end of the day. So I've said this before, that I do feel that there should be a little bit more of health insurance coverage for everybody that's out here, and especially for my people, a part of the LGBTQ community, because those things are expensive. If you looked at how much a gender reassignment surgery is, and you see how damn expensive that shit is, like it's really, you're going up to past $50,000 for that surgery. God forbid if any complications happen and you got to get revision surgeries, you got to get an additional here and there added on to the surgery as well. That's even more money. So imagine somebody it is that wants to go ahead and to do this. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money, which is why I always am fighting for the fact that they definitely need health insurance for this. There's no way it is that this shouldn't be covered. This is why we are all in coding gang and we need that bread. Exactly. Exactly. It's expensive.
Number of minors who received a mastectomy, which is the removal of breasts, otherwise known as top surgery, averages around 260 minors per year. Also, transitioning from female to male is much more common. Adolescents assigned female at birth initiate transgender care 2.5 to 7.1 times more frequently than those assigned male at birth. But Charlie assumed that Sneako was talking about gender-affirming care as a whole and was just using the snip your penis off as shock value to simplify this process. Gender-affirming care encompasses a range of social, psychological, behavioral, and medical interventions designed to support and affirm an individual's gender identity when it conflicts with the gender they were assigned at birth. So anything from talking to a psychologist to maybe running some tests to taking hormones and puberty blockers all count as gender-affirming care. And this care is illegal in these 24 states. While many people think that transphobia is...
Of course fucking Texas is on there. Of course Texas is on there, right? See, and this is another thing too. I've talked about like with therapy and everything like that. People love to throw that wording around. Like, oh, you need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy. This is this. Well, newsflash, therapy is usually not covered through health insurance. It's like that. Some are and some aren't, depending on the health insurance within itself. But the fact that this many states have this level of care banned in the United States is a problem for me. Now, I'm not surprised by Texas, because I'm not surprised by Texas whatsoever. But this is an alarming number up here. My God, that's not fair.
Simply the reason why it's illegal, and there are definitely lawmakers who have made it clear that is the reason why. There is also just not a ton of research or information about the short-term and long-term effects of transitioning. Puberty blockers and sex hormones do not have FDA approval for children's gender care. No clinical trials have established their safety for such off-label use. And in 2016, the FDA ordered makers of puberty blockers to add a warning about psychiatric problems to the drug's label after the agency received several reports of ending thoughts in children who were taking them. More broadly, no large-scale studies have tracked people who receive gender-related medical care as children to determine how many remained satisfied with their treatment as they aged and...
Texas doesn't support women, abortion, wearing a mask during COVID. Like, you'd be surprised at how many people it is who is fighting against wearing a mask publicly in Texas. You'd be surprised how many people had a problem within that, like fighting for that wholeheartedly during the pandemic. And you said you was iffy about moving to Texas. Trust me, my parents is in Texas. They're the ones, like, trust me. If then anybody is like, going to tell me about the laws and stuff like that, it's going to be my parents for sure. So that's why I'm like,
how many eventually regretted transitioning. The same lack of clarity holds true for the contentious issue of detransitioning, when a patient stops or reverses the transition process. One overarching reality about the Sneako vs. Penguins beef is that we put an insurmountable amount of pressure on YouTubers and celebrities to speak about social issues that they clearly are uneducated on, instead of putting the pressure on politicians and experts who actually could progress the conversation further. Then again, we know a lot of these experts and politicians hide behind criticism. They often refuse to answer the important questions, and when people come up with their interpretations of their lack of clarity, then it's considered a conspiracy theory. Maybe YouTubers are doing the right thing by talking about these issues, even though there is no doubt that this is somewhat of a business decision to discuss these things.
Thank you. It is. It's almost, I won't say it's putting your platform on risk, but there are some things it is that I feel that should be based off of the discretion of the YouTuber or the streamer that talks about these things, because you don't want to say the wrong things on a platform and then be loud and wrong, and then you get the criticism for stuff that's like that. And especially when it comes down to like politics. Politics is very iffy within itself, just to have those levels of conversation. Anything that's like that. That's why most people don't want to talk about what are their voting classes are, or what are their particular opinions on religion or on certain things. You know, like it's iffy. You're not allowed to be wrong or have bad takes as an influencer figure. Exactly. It's the same thing like how Kai Cenat, he didn't really want to have Kamala Harris onto the stream because he doesn't want to get into politics and stuff. Now, personally, I felt it is, and I said this on Twitter. I said, watch, there is going to be a stream of that because you've already had Aiden Ross have Trump on his stream talking about the political issues and stuff like that. But I feel it is, especially through the youth. I felt like it is having Kamala Harris on his stream would be very beneficial and also be a learning experience for Kai. You know, because now that gives it a level of like the things that is you don't know about. Now you can educate yourself and also with the community. But I get it. Some people don't want to get too involved with like politics and stuff like that. Like, and I'm not saying he's a bit like he made a bad decision or anything like that because of the fact that he said no to it. But you know, there is a level of like forcing influencers to speak on things, especially if they don't have much of either an interest or they don't know too much about with that. You know. So that sounds like which is a shame because we all of us humans are all wrong in some aspect, and then you have Sneako. Yeah.
Generally speaking, these topics receive more views, which then means more ads and more money. And if they want the benefits of speaking on the issues when it's easy, then they should be able to take the criticism for when it's hard. Because of this whole firestorm, Charlie announced that he is slowing down on talking about drama.
It hasn't been as fun recently. It hasn't. And the main thing, if you've been around the channel for a while, is I've always wanted this to be fun and never feel like a job. And as hard as it is for me to admit this, a lot of this kind of stuff, it has just started to feel like less fun and more of, well, gotta do this because I'm expected to. Like anytime I go live, most of chat is just telling me about the latest in whatever's happening in the creator space or some other like extremely negative thing going on. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to learn all about that once I turn stream off. So then I spend a few hours learning about these things, and it's all just really upsetting stuff. Like, it's not happy. It's all very sad, bad stuff.
Sneako, on the other hand, will not be slowing down. His message remains the same, and he respects Charlie for having the conversation in the first place.
Critical, and I want to be, let's be respectful to him for even being willing to have that conversation. It takes balls to do it. You know how many people are going to be willing to have a conversation like that? Not many. Not many YouTubers, and he's probably the biggest YouTube commentator in the world.
I've personally done more research on this topic more than I ever have just to get a good perspective on both sides, which I would say is a net positive overall, because at the end of the day, it is your decision to determine how you feel about any issue. But if you did not do your own research, then can you really say it's your opinion?
Fire way to end out the vid, Patrick. Fire way to end out the video. Very interesting take on this. Charlie, shout outs to you. Shout outs to you, Patrick CC, shout outs to you. Shout outs to y'all in the chat. Shout outs to you at home. I'm also curious to know what it is that you think about your input with all of this, the beef between Charlie and Sneako. But, you know, let me know within the comments how it is y'all feel. I will catch y'all within the next video.